1900. I was still engaged when we returned that summer. The plans for the wedding, one to rival any of our clique, were in its final stages. The date was set for the end of September, to take place here in Newport. My sadness at not going to college remained like lint in my pocket. The number of times I had surreptitiously watched Herbert being flirtatious mounted, but that's all I had ever seen. Trifles. Powerful fripperies, if there were such things, effects as clear as the early summer sky. My father had not raised me to be a fool. I knew in this stratified world, a flirtatious fiancé would more than likely become an adulterous husband. They thought it was their right, part of their birthright, as if their possession of wealth lifted them above the laws of morality. My opinions of such men came from my father, not my mother. Was it for the best? To be a bastion of decency often brought only loneliness and heartbreak in a world where the definition of decency changed as often as women changed their outfits. It was my right to tolerate it or not. On that, I had still not made up my mind, even as the date of our nuptials drew ever closer. I had never caught Herbert in an aggressive assault such as the one Ginevra had claimed he made upon her. I had not seen that one either. The opportunities for such disgraceful behavior were far too readily available. Confusion was the blood that pumped through my heart. Herbert, college, my mother's life, my father's, this life. Which life? Ginevra and forgiveness. They were the ghosts that plagued me. Selfishly, I needed my friend. As Ginevra helped me unpack, I spoke to her. I had to. How was your winter? She spun as if struck. Her lips quivered, her eyes filled with tears. Her body began to shake so much I thought she would fall down. I ran to her, helped her to a chair. Ginevra hid her face, her tears behind her hands. I moved them aside and knelt before her. I talked to her. I did not talk of what had passed between us. I would not pick at a wound still open. I talked of trivialities, nothing more than the social events through the winter. I didn't know any other way to start again. Silence fell on us. We swam in it, our hands clasped, the connection reaching toward our hearts. I almost cried with the joy of it. I wrote to Risdi, last summer. It seemed wrong to speak of that time. You did? Ginevra sat up, wiping her cheeks with her palms on her skirt. What did you say? I asked for a deferment. She cocked her head to the side. A deferment? She wouldn't know such a word. Yes, it's when you ask them to hold your place, your acceptance, until you're ready. Did they give this? Ginevra squeezed my hands so tightly my bones crushed against themselves. Her jubilance was like jumping in the ocean at its warmest point in the summer. I felt terrible to turn it cold. They did, but my fiancé doesn't approve. He has grand plans for us to travel. Perhaps later. I said the words, but I didn't believe them any more than she did. Ginevra stood and began to put my things away, as if she could put away her palpable dejection, her worry. There weren't enough drawers and wardrobes for it all. I asked her about her own dream. Had she been drawing, designing? I told her of finding her gift, the lovely suit dress. I told her of how often I had worn it through the autumn. She dropped her head. I expected bad news. I have. A lot, in fact. It was my turn to squeeze her hands. Will you meet me beneath our tree tonight? Will you show me? She did not speak, or could not. She took me into her embrace and nodded.